Listen, they usually don't like when I say it, but with what we are about to talk about and expose today, they are really not gonna like when I say it. So what I am gonna say is that I need your help. And well, right when you hear me say the thing, I need you to leave a like, and so get ready and say it with me. Now when it comes to Drake! Well listen, if you are ready to see how things are getting dug up from the Cupcake Karen and they are showing, well then Drizzy has had way more things in disarray than his rap career for really over a decade at this point, and with this, well, at the very least, we have to face some uncomfortable truths about Drake that people are not gonna like. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and now really. As Drake is spiraling, OVO is doing whatever you want to call it, and while the rap game is just at a place that I don't even know how to describe as a whole right now, we really need to talk. And what specifically I want to just frame this entire conversation that we are about to have around is just this idea of performative and fake outrage. And well, within that, seemingly how playing this game of performatively caring about certain things when it benefits a narrative only for somebody you don't like, well, how that can come to really just make you look bad when you want to put things in the full circle. And listen, before we get into these possible Euphoria meet the Grams like disses that are coming around Drake's name, I want to laugh with you guys real quick and see how pretty much after Drake got accused of more ghostwriter stuff than ever, and well, within that, he has just looked terrible because we are finding out that Drake is a rap group or a puppet who is really just performing a character that somebody else has written for him. Well, now Drake is spiraling and scrambling, and now out of his 142 million followers, he decided to find a DM from somebody asking him for a senior quote. And with that, well, Drake did write some bars and tried to brag about it. And you know, this is what Drake is doing now. He is ghostwriting senior yearbook quotes, because that's the most writing that I guess he could possibly do, and with even how bad we can see the writing really is in terms of just how cringe it is, and in terms of how it's using the same weird cringe catchphrases and lingos that he tries to use over and over again, we see why you're not allowed to write your own raps. But now really, speaking of Drake writing senior yearbook quotes, and again out of the 142 million followers, I'm not gonna say anything too much because I don't want to get in trouble, but just look at the words that must have caught Drake's eyes to open this and answer to it in the first place, which, come on, man, some jokes really just write themselves. Well, now with this, honestly, I don't even need to make any sort of a segue because this is exactly what we are going to be talking about today, which has all been around some trouble that Drake is seemingly getting into, which is all coming back to a footprint that he has pretty much left behind. And it's showing that at the very least, well, a lot of the stuff that came to really haunt Drake during this beef has been getting talked about as early as 2009. And before we can even get into some of the stuff that they have put on Drake's name, and you know, maybe potentially what this could mean, I want to go back to this idea of fake outrage and really just send the message that for all of these performative Cupcake Karens who are trying to act like they care about causes, care about morals, and care about doing the right thing, well, when, you know, your guy Drake is literally known for ruining families, bringing people's wives into things, of course everything with the story of Adidon and Adonis, and I mean, just look at OVO and look what Kendrick Lamar told us and broke it down, which, you know, yeah, Baca does have a weird case. Well, regardless of all that is, you are trying to act like the ambassadors of morality, and you are these amazing people. What they have been spending their time doing now is finding one of the weak points that they seemingly think they have from the entire side of hip-hop, who again is standing on the side of the right things. And well, they are pulling up old tweets like they have the biggest gotcha moment and cancel moment of all time, and this is all around one and one person only, in none other than Tyler, the Creator. And you know, while Tyler has had his own situation, which started off by his reaction and really just trying to teach his fans about the legacy of D'Angelo, which long lived to an all-time great, things have gotten out of control from there, as after Tyler was mad that his fans didn't appreciate things, and then Tyler was seemingly sneak dissing his fans online, then people went and they were digging up all these posts that were showing why Tyler has attracted the type of fan that he has. And you know, people were saying cancel Tyler the Creator, and he's terrible for saying these things, and it's awful, which I don't know, Tyler has talked about these things a lot. He has made multiple songs, albums, and he's just done so much to address the past and way more edgier chapter in his career. But regardless of that, is people who try to be these ambassadors of morality, they're really only doing it to get a sort of gotcha moment on somebody they don't like, and they don't understand context, and they don't understand any other nuanced thing. Well, they've been coming for Tyler, they're saying he's done, and they're gonna try to cancel him, and now, of course, within this, a lot of the Drake stans have been the ones really perpetuating the narratives, because they see this as a win, as to get somebody who, again, has been right next to Kendrick Lamar and Pusha T and Malice throughout this entire era. Well, if they can take him down, they can finally do something. But now, with that said, while the Drake stans are trying to have a gotcha moment on the guy who had a show on Adult Swim which was programmed right next to Family Guy and King of the Hill, what they didn't realize is that unlike Tyler, who has always had this moniker of just being a jokester, whether you think that his jokes were fair or maybe he took it a little too far, well, for somebody like Drake, if you go within this same time period and then even go beyond all the way to a few years ago, what people have found out is that the footprint that he has left behind really is a concerning one. And the reason why this is, and I just have to be careful for what I show here, but I mean, it's all over everybody's timeline and you could find these things. Well, again, are pretty much claims and comments that people were making about Drake, and some people even said that they saw these things or were putting dots together even more than just a vague comment here or there. That, well, I'm just gonna say we're echoing the not like us sentiments, and I think you know exactly what I mean by that. And you know, while there are some random things here and there, what is interesting is that if you go back to 2009, you will find Charlemagne echoing the same sentiments and calling Drake weird just for being around the weirdest things for the type of person he is. And now, to be honest, what makes these things even weirder is that in some of the more tangible stuff that Drake was getting kind of called out for in a pretty bad way, some of the posts that were exposing these things have been taken down, which again just makes everything more weird and confusing, because if there really was nothing, why would the very sentiments and thought points coming out be taken away and silenced? And so again, with these claims around Drake and really just the way everything started to come to light, which was a response and reaction to the performative outrage around Tyler, listen, while there are a lot of other small details within this that we can't really say are telling us too much just because there is not enough actual fact around them or proof to really make anything more tangible, even with what we are seeing in the history we know, from Drake reportedly shutting down a restaurant for model Bella Harris, well, when he definitely shouldn't have, which just look at Zach Fox's comment about this, I think this is one of the all-time things that has ever been said. And well, from that to everything we do know, and you know what makes things even weirder is that there is a song all the way back on So Far Gone that, well, is called Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, and if you listen to the lyrics, and if Drake was actually writing his stuff at this time or it was based on his reality, I mean, this is very weird and it's very bad. Well, overall, with all of these things and with everything they are talking about with Drake, well, you can try to get a gotcha moment on Kendrick Lamar for doing a feature with somebody, or just pulling things out of the air that don't exist, or, you know, pull up these old Tyler posts, which he has addressed, and I mean, he has always been very public about doing these things, and again, he was a major star when he was saying these things. It was a part of the character that he was playing and was accepted whether you liked it or not. Well, to just try and do all of this fake garbage stuff and at the same time, I mean, if you look back at Drake, there is just some very weird things that have always been going on. People have always been addressing it, both from big names in hip-hop media to people that we don't really know. And again, while there isn't a bigger conspiracy that we can uncover, you can just see all of the things out there. And from associating with people like Baca, who got a weird case, to the Bella Harris stuff, to the Kylie Jenner stuff, to all of the other things we have seen over the years, which we can't forget the Millie Bobby Brown stuff as well. Well, overall with this, it brings me back to a point that I was talking about during the whole lawsuit and just the way everything was moving there, which to me, it's always been baffling that the same Drake stans who try to play these games, pick up these narratives, and then do the performative outrage games over and over again when Kendrick Lamar does literally anything, or anybody who's even half associated with him will have something going on with them. Well, just to do all of that and hunt for gotcha moments in the most desperate way, and then meanwhile with Drake, these people literally cry and whine and act like the most perfect person has had the nastiest things put on his name, which even again, when we go to the diss tracks, While it does seem, or at least Kendrick intended to get the song put out by the label and to just be the hit that it was, that Kendrick was playing or expanding on the truth and the reality that at least we understood to make the song what it was? Well, ultimately, when we look at the history of Drake for the last 20 years, from doing all of the weird things we have seen, which again, these aren't just things that are out there, but you can look at the Bella Harris stuff, you can see the Millie Bobby Brown stuff, and you can see just so many other weird things which kind of make you just raise an eyebrow. Overall, these are legitimate character traits of Drake that have all defined who he is in the public space, whether he has tried to highlight it or not. And you just can't deny and admit that these things have been going on to at least what we can see to our knowledge. And I mean, honestly, if you did have to sit here and say, out of Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole, Travis Scott, Tyler, or any of these other superstars, who would be the one that would really be getting in trouble for these bad things? I mean, just based on everything we can see, there is one guy who was clearly doing more weird stuff than the rest of them. And that's just it. There's no other way to put it. And no matter how many performative games the Drake stans try to play, and no matter how many victim cards that they try to just put out and repurpose over and over again to help his reputation, it's not going to change a single thing because it's all out there and we can see everything. And again, while I can't really go into the depth to just look at a lot of these things and really give any further thought or comments on them, because last time I did that, well, to just put it at the very least, I gotta watch what I say to some extent. Well, overall, it still really doesn't matter because everybody knows what we are talking about. Everybody sees, just again, and I want to say this to be clear, at the very least, what is out there to understand. And I mean, that's it. We know Drake is weird. We know Drake has a troubled past. And really, when it comes to who he really is behind the scenes and what everything he may have done really entails. Well, listen, I don't fully know, but even with just a little ghostwriting thing for the senior quote that we have seen there, how many messages does Drake get a day? And for him to just answer this one and pull it up out of everything, again, I'm not gonna say anything else, but you can put the pieces together. You know why I think that it exposes another character. And so really what I have to say to close this thing out is that for Drake stans and really anybody else, we gotta stop with the fake outrage because this thing is just always ridiculous. And honestly, a lot of times when you are just trying to come at somebody because you don't like them and you are playing the game and trying to stand on something that makes you look better than everybody, or like you care about morals and values and things that actually mean something, well, most of the times the people that you actually like are doing things way worse. And when that happens, you say nothing, and it just puts us in this cycle that has caused Tyler, the Creator, to make an album like Chromacopia or make an album like Call Me If You Get Lost and make tracks on those records where he is addressing the very games that are being played right now, like Noid. And so really just with that, I think everybody's got to be careful how they really decide to diss and go about things, because honestly, as we are in an era and it almost feels like a game is being played with how these artists and groups are trying to deflect from one another, well, it does seem like when you get into this game, there is always a bigger fish and always somebody that is just going to be more embarrassing and more disgusting and off-putting than the person that you're trying to come at. And as we have literally just seen this happen over time from Tyler's posts, which again, you can say something about it and not like what he said, but I think it's just important to remember the context of the fact that Tyler was literally on Adult Swim next to Family Guy, King of the Hill. And you know, as Eminem would say, he had more in common with Eric Cartman than a lot of other people back then. And I mean, when you understand that and then see the things around the guy in Drake, who always tried to act like this great person, but had this weird history always from the start of his career, and within that, you could just see that things were off and they only continued to get weirder and weirder as time went on, which once again, for the Drake stans trying to argue this, just tell me about Baca, tell me about Bella Harris, tell me about Stranger Things, and tell me about everything else. Well, overall, you see my exact point. So what I'm just gonna say is that for the Drake stans who are really trying to do these things and really don't understand the past that your favorite artist has, or are just delusional about it, stop, because honestly, the more you try to sling mud on others, it's only gonna end up making Drake's entire downfall way worse. So yeah, that's all I got today. Let me know your thoughts on everything around Drake, him being a cupcake, him being exposed for having a lot of weird things, just what the situation means as a whole, and also let me know your whole thoughts on the way the OVO stans tried to come at Tyler with the most fake outrage we've ever seen, and how that's just kind of deflected back on them full circle. Now, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about all this, and if you made it to this point in the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And I just want to say, if you made it to this point in the video, thank you, and I hope you have a great day and a great rest of your week. And well, if you want to stay around with me a little longer and see how right before this, Kendrick Lamar just made the rap game very mad, Drake managed to lose even more, and there is a potential Joe Budden and Kendrick beef going on right now, which at the end of the day, all of these things are showing how the rap game is crashing out over Kendrick's success even now. Well, you're not going to want to miss this one because it's showing how everybody from the biggest names in rap to the biggest crash outs can't handle that there is a #1 guy. And so with that, and if you want to make sure that hip-hop competition is preserved, what I will say is check out the suggested video.